We're good? Okay. So good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, November 16th, 2020. The time is 11:03 a.m. We're meeting for our weekly Commissioner's Status Report. Officially calling this meeting to order, attending in person, Commissioners Brooks and Filios. Joining us by phone is Commissioner Leslie Duncan. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. First item, resolution to correct the Silverado Urban Renewal District revenue allocation area with Leon Deuce of Rathdrum. He's the city administrator, and that's open for discussion. Leon, come forward, please. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Deuce, that's correct.
Okay.
You got it.
A double C would have been Ducci.
That's right.
Okay.
Commissioners, my name is Leon Deuce. I'm the city administrator for the city of Rathdrum. We just recently approved a plan by ordinance from the city council to adopt a new urban renewal district in the city of Rathdrum. It's a very small area, 40 acres. Within this urban renewal district, there is a road, Meyer Road, that intersects with Bakel Road. Many of you may be familiar with that. It turns out that the west half of Meyer Road, as per the exhibit in the resolution, is actually not incorporated inside the city of Rathdrum city limits. The urban renewal district wishes to do improvements on that road with some of that urban renewal district funding. There will be no tax dollars from outside of city limits that will be used on that. It'll all be inside city limits. It is a correction that needs to be made. I looked on the history of it. The Vista substation that was annexed into the city of Rathdrum was actually the first part of that was annexed. And that was annexed in 1993. It was annexed under Washington Water Power at the time, and it's now a Vista. The property to the west of that road is Bob Head's property. That was annexed in 2003, but when it was annexed, it didn't include the rest of the right-of-way, which it should have. So the city is working right now to make that correction and annex the right-of-way along Meyer Road to have that. But because the urban renewal district was formed with that being outside of city limits, it needs to have a resolution from the county commissioner, similar to what you did off of Greens Ferry Road on our other urban renewal district. So we have that, presented that to the county commissioners in a resolution format as well.
Okay.
Any questions you might have?
No, I think it's pretty much completed. Are we going to be taking this up tomorrow? Is it on the agenda for the business meeting?
I think it needs to be reviewed, sent to legal for review.
Has it not already been reviewed by legal?
As far as I know, it has not.
Okay. It might still be in review.
Typically, you would want to at least run it by.
Yeah, it was sent to them last week, I believe.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay, so we'll get back with you.
Agenda, but I
Okay.
didn't see
It's
that
a priority item, so legal has it. We'll make sure it gets done, hopefully this week.
Appreciate it. Thank you very
Okay,
much,
you bet.
commissioners.
Okay, then. Item number 2, Parks and Waterways 2021 Priorities Discussion. Leslie?
Hi, Nick can start us off.
Okay, Nick, go right ahead.
Thank you. Nick Snyder for the record. Thank you, Commissioners. This is just a brief discussion on how the Board of County Commissioners would like Parks and Waterways, and essentially or I should say to include the Waterways Advisory Board, to move forward in 2021 with topics of discussion, requests for changes in no-wake zones, excessive wake, all those things the commissioners are familiar with that we dealt with last year. Typically, our format is that citizens will bring forward those requests to the Waterways Advisory Board. They would hear them. KCSO, sometimes, depending on the subject matter, Parks and Waterways will provide some recommendations to the commissioners at a follow-up meeting after the Waterways Advisory Board meeting, and the commissioners would then give us some marching orders on the direction which way to go. And I know that the commissioners were inundated last year with many of these waterways requests, and it became pretty taxing on our resources. So I'm looking for some direction on how the board would like us to proceed. in 2021. We do still have two items on the table to discuss from 2020, and that is a potential implementation of a no-wake zone in Honeysuckle Bay, as well as a request from Camp Cross on Lake Coeur d'Alene for some no-wake zone buoys there in front of their large camp with a bunch of kids who are swimming and kayaking, etc. So that's kind of where we're at today. 2021 sneaking up on us quick, so I thought I better get with the board and see if you have some direction to give us with the many requests that may be forthcoming.
Okay. Leslie, any thoughts?
Yeah, my suggestion would be to continue forward with the honeysuckle request and the Camp Cross request, and then really put everything else on hold, except for anything that the new sheriff might be concerned about in enforcing ordinances. So those are my three top things that I'm willing to consider for 21.
Okay. Bill?
I agree, that's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, a couple things. Okay, so we spent a good deal of time, and necessarily so, last year in addressing the waterways issues. So what I'd like to see happen this year is two avenues to the county commissioners. One through KCSO and two through the Waterways Advisory Board. So if residents or anyone else that has an interest, those comments, those concerns have to go to one of those two locations. Because it becomes, and we have a lot of items on our plate, so for us to deal with this in a reasonable fashion, it has to come through one of those two sources. So that's my first concern. Secondly, I second what Leslie said. We need to take up the honeysuckle situation with the buoys and also Camp Cross. That is a serious safety concern. Thirdly, on the issue of excessive wake, when I addressed the Friends and Deputy Justin Arts was there, Sergeant Klinkerfuss was there, the point was made that with the 150-foot limitation that we applied this year, it was almost licensed for people to create an excessive wake beyond that, whether or not that's the case. I'd like to see that removed and basically just go straight, no excessive wake on the river, Spokane River. Okay, that's where I'm at. That's my head right now. On the question of towing, I am not prepared to declare a no towing zone on the river. My concern with that is that if we do that, it's all going to go up to the lake, then we're going to fight the battle on the lake. And I think towing on the river is foolish. If people want to do it, that's up to them. I certainly would not do it. I don't own a boat anymore, but I did for 10 years. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Thoughts? Anybody else? Leslie, Bill?
Well, I'm a lot more inclined to just man towing on the river, but we can talk about that. I am absolutely insistent that anything come through the Waterways Advisory Committee or through the Sheriff's Department, because otherwise it's a free-for-all here. People throwing this and throwing that and coming in and advocating this and advocating that. And that's not why we have an advisory board. So,
Okay, fair enough. And one final question, Nick, and Leslie brought this up last week. An overview of the 2020 boating season by KCSO?
Yeah, I'm not sure if their team has had time to put all the data together referencing how the excessive wake rule worked, but I know that Sergeant Klinkerfuss was going to put some time into it this week.
Here he comes.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't see that. Yeah, Sergeant Klinkerfuss, Sheriff's Office for the record. We will have a memorandum to you folks by the end of this week outlining what we experienced on the river, kind of an after-action review with our partnership with Post Falls PD, and to give you guys some insight to move forward on any recommendations for
do
changes.
you have some recommendations at that time?
Yeah, we'll have some. We're still kind of talking about it, but I'll have that for you by Friday. I'll have a document for you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay then. Item number 3, Sunshine Vending Request for additional services with Bhavani Jorgens, and this is a potential action item. Bhavani, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Bhavani Jorgens. I'm a subcontractor for Idaho Commission for the Blind. So I provide vending for the outlying, the area buildings in that area. I just wanted to come before you today to see it, to bring a new idea. I don't know if you all have the flyer in front of you to look at it, but what I'm introducing today is a cooler cafe, and what it essentially is basically like a cooler with a door, and it has a touch screen, and you can pick your item, and the items that can be put in the cooler is sandwiches, salads, all different sorts of things like beverages, even burritos, just all kinds of lunch, breakfast items, snacks. Yeah, the sky's the limit. We can put a lot of different things in there. The cool thing about this unit is it has touch screen. It can also be contactless. The forearm, you can use your forearm to open it. You don't have to touch the handle. So that's, I know, a new feature that they added in there. Before I continue, do you guys have any questions?
Bill, any questions? Yeah, Leslie, go right ahead.
How long will you see, or how long will it take, do you think, to see if it's going to be a success?
Typically, a couple of months. I mean, we can see sometimes right away if people really like using it, like the products, and it's easy to use. I haven't actually physically seen one myself, but I've heard that they're very user friendly.
Okay.
I'd be in favor of this. I think it gives people here more options, and it's convenient. I would just want to make sure that that it's kept on top of in case it isn't used.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course, we would monitor that.
Bill?
I just noticed coming in today that second vending machine with the snacks in it is pretty much depleted and dead. Is that the same group that is suggesting this? Yes. Why is that one dead?
Yes.
Why is that empty?
Because we are going to be there tomorrow, so we have not been there in a week or so. It's been kind of hit and miss with, consumers just because of COVID and so forth.
I'm one of those naughty people that occasionally hits your snack machine, and it's been dead as far as out. I see hands being raised.
No, I will point out that the assessor's office snack bar has been closed to everyone as of today, except for people in the assessor's office. So anyone who wants to.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, the proof of the pudding is up to the board, and if I see that kind of neglect of a machine again, I'm going to be trying to get every one of them out of here and some new vendor in.
Okay, the situation here, though, is that we are bound, I believe, by statute to essentially have the organization for the visually impaired to provide
It
this.
says that disabled people will be given preference.
Reference, right.
And this isn't the only group of disabled people. We can always look to see if we have other people who'd like to adhere to a more business-like standard.
Bhavani, any comments?
I happen to be disabled, as you know.
Understood.
I hear you. I understand what you are saying. Again, I apologize. We had planned to be there last week, but because of the holiday, we weren't able to access the building. That's been some of our concern, is accessing some of the facilities. But going forward, I can try to put it on our route to do it weekly. We have been doing it bi-weekly because we have not seen the machines being used as often as they were prior to. So we can adjust our schedule.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Sean, please.
How big is this machine?
Go ahead.
And where's it going to go?
Exactly, that was going to be my question, because she only has limited space for her machine, so where's it going to go, and is it going to fit in the current? And is the electrical, it sounds like there's more refrigeration for this. I'm just throwing a couple things out. I know it's not a project, but those are questions.
Bhavani, can you respond? Did you hear Sean, his concerns?
Yes, I do. I don't per se. I do not have the dimensions of the machine, but my guess would be it would be about the same size as the machines that are there now. And then the answer the other question, my idea was to put it in the break room on the first floor. It would be primarily for employee use and not the public. Not saying that the public can't use it, but that would be more geared towards employees that work in that building.
Okay.
I think
You had another question, power requirements?
Yeah, power requirements, and then if
Now-
in the break room, if it's this break room here, that's DMV and driver's license. And
That's correct.
Probably should talk to them about that. It's not that big of a room. Yeah.
I think a lot of these things need to be determined specifically and exactly before we approve this.
Okay, so Babani, what about the vending machines that are in the lobby here that are available to everyone? Are they being replaced as well or no?
No, they are not.
Okay.
We would like to put this in addition to those machines if possible.
Okay. Greg, did you have concerns? Okay, so do you want to do that? And then, okay, and then we can get back with you, Babani. And I guess we also need to execute a contract if in fact, when we proceed. Because I guess we haven't had one in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. Thank you. Any more questions for Babani? Okay. Thank you. We'll
Thank
get back.
you.
Yeah, we'll get back with you. Greg, who's in charge of our buildings and grounds, is going to check with the folks at DMV to make sure we have adequate space. All right, then. So
Okay, and then I will talk to them about the power source, what's required to.
And the dimensions, if you would.
Yes,
Okay.
I can do that.
Great. Thank you. Okay, then. So
Thank you.
item number 4, marine building update, general discussion. Who's leading us? Leslie?
Yeah, Sean can lead us.
I'll take it. So, if you remember right back during the budget process, the Marines section of KCSO, we rolled the money over for them to get a new building. We had originally planned to do it in 2019, and then it didn't fit where we were going to go, and so we rolled the money forward in the budget out of dedicated funds to build them a new building for the boats, which then frees up some space at the sheriff's office for other things, whatever they decide to do with it. So it's getting to be that time of year now where we need to start looking at whether we want to do this or not. Corey Trapp sent me his contract last Friday via email, but I don't want to turn the contract into Darren Murphy until we have a discussion, because I don't want it to show up on the business meeting and you didn't know what was coming. Right. So I put it on there. Now, there's been a change. They would like to move the building out to the Armory building. So it would sit between the Armory and the little future canine home out there. And it fits in there nice. It doesn't fit in the SAR. It doesn't fit on the campus. So it make perfect sense to put it out there. And then the configuration of the building will change. Instead of being a long pole barn, it'll be a not as wide, or not as, it'll go more north and south instead of east and west with more doors. So I just wanted to have the discussion because, it takes time to get the contract done, and then it takes time to get the plans drawn up, and then I got to get it out to bid, and while it's out to bid, permit review is 6 to 8 weeks, and ideally, we would like to get this out to bid in February, by the end of February, so that we can get it scheduled, because I think this year is going to be a real strong year for construction. I think these guys are going to be real busy, so that's the purpose.
How big a building are we talking about?
70 by 40.
Okay, it's 2,800 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
With, 5 doors? Four doors.
Four
and
doors, 2,800
4 doors
square
and a
feet.
man door.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cost?
We haven't we haven't got to that part yet.
But it's
because
budgeted.
It's budgeted.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
plenty of money. Yep, we're
Okay.
thinking around 80 grand, but, you know, it's
Okay.
not gonna be we salvaged a couple heaters out of the armory and stored them on site, so those will be the heaters for the building, so we're gonna try to cut whatever we can.
So what are we waiting on at this point?
Well,
Us?
I don't know with the new sheriff if you know, he wants to weigh in on this. I know that the undersheriff is behind it. He's been behind it, but maybe that's something that, you know, Ryan can speak to, or somebody can talk to him and get his thoughts on it.
Yeah, Lieutenant Higgins coming up to the mic.
Yeah, so I spoke to the undersheriff. Obviously, this project is important because we lost our storage for where our boats were stored in the past because of the detective remodel of the MCC building. So we need to move forward on this project. I agree with Sean that the sooner the better, because I do believe construction is going to be an issue. The undersheriff is on board with this. The current sheriff is obviously on board with this, and everybody in the command staff is on board with this. The money's and already been budgeted. We have $175,000 approved for this project. It won't be nearly that cost, I don't think, but that'll cover any incidentals that may come up.
Any idea where Sheriff-elect Norris is on this?
I haven't spoken to him directly.
No? Okay.
Chris,
Yeah, go right ahead, Leslie.
I have a meeting with Sheriff-elect and Dan Mattos scheduled about facilities, and so I was going to address this with them because of the potential movement with the potential Hayden building.
Yes.
There may be some options, and so I was just going to run it by them before we went full speed ahead on the Marine building. I think it's a good idea, but I just want to run it by them just to make sure everybody knows what's on the table.
Okay. Is that this week?
It was supposed to be, but I haven't seen anything come across my calendar. So I'm going to reach out to Undersheriff and see what the date he
Okay,
picked.
good. Okay, so nevertheless, it's going to be addressed. Okay, that's good. Okay,
The sooner the better, I think.
okay.
I definitely, you know, we
Yeah.
could bring it up as soon as Leslie has her meeting, then we should put it back on
So
the
you're hoping to
agenda.
break ground or start construction in February?
No, I'm hoping to get it out to bid by February with the break ground date of sometime in
Oh,
April.
okay.
Weather permitting. The sooner I can get it out to bid, the further up the list we are for whoever's building it. Otherwise, we get into the
The
situation.
construction season, and we're going to be competing for resources, without a
Exactly.
doubt.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
So I can add if you and Bill are okay with Sean bringing it to legal, I can
Please.
have my meeting and then I can let Sean know, to turn it in. So if that's how you guys are feeling now, then we can do that. We wouldn't have to bring it back before us again until the business meeting where the contract's being approved.
You okay?
I'll send it to Darren this afternoon.
Okay, cool. All set. Okay, thank you. All right, item number 5, choosing a liaison for the Attorney Center. When we say the Attorney Center, for the benefit of folks listening in, that's the building that is to be constructed here on the campus, for which we've already selected an architect. From my perspective, Leslie, you've been the one most involved. I'm fine with your taking this, Bill.
I am, as long as things that really require a board vote come to the board.
Yeah,
Well, sure, this is a
A
liaison
lot of decisions can
situation.
be made without that kind of direction that will take away the board's right to make a decision.
no, we won't do that.
Okay, I'm just,
What we did, this is kind of like how we did the jail expansion. Like, if there's,
I trust you. You
Okay,
don't need to go into it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Point
that's
taken.
a concern of mine,
yes, point taken, that won't happen.
that's all.
It won't.
We're fine.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay,
Leslie, it is then, right?
yes, Leslie, you're good?
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Okay, item number 6, vote for ICRIMP board member, action item. ICRIMP has a board, and that board is made up largely, if not entirely, by county commissioners. And the District 1, which is the 5 northern counties, was represented on that board by the gentleman from Benewah County, Jack Buell, who was defeated in the most recent election. So we had to put names forth for nomination, and I had received a call from Tim Osborne, who's the executive director of ICRIMP, asking me to apply. And so, and so I did, thinking no one else was going to apply. Well, it turns out there's someone else from Benewah County. In any case, when I looked into it, it's going to take probably 8 to 10 days over the course of a year, because they have board meetings. Those boards sometimes meet to consider potential cases that come against us, if you will, lawsuits where the board has to weigh in terms of any potential settlement or whether or not to actually take up the case in court. And so we have to vote. There are going to be 5 counties voting, District 1, and whoever gets the most votes is in. My concern is if I am the one voted in, to be perfectly candid, I don't think any one of us in this county has the time to spend 8 to 10 days in Boise. So if you still want to vote for me, that's fine. But if it turns out that the other gentleman, which is Phil Lampert, gets most votes, it's a moot point. But if not, I may have to drop out. So if you still want to vote for me, that's fine. But I don't know. Thoughts?
When do we vote?
Well, you would do it today.
Oh,
You would do it today, but the votes are
Well-
due November 22nd, I think, is the deadline. Leslie?
Right, right. So, Chris, if you seriously are not interested in taking it, then we can remove your name, and Phil Lampert will get it. So it's up to you. I mean, I have no problem, supporting you on this and authorizing you to vote for yourself, because I guess the chairman signs the document.
Well,
But just
no, go ahead.
no, that's pretty much it. If you seriously don't think you can do it, then it's not too late now to drop off the voting. But I mean, I think you would be an asset for Kootenai County on the board. But if you don't think you have margin to do that, then I won't speak on your behalf.
Okay, so what I'll do then is let me, when we end today, let me call Tim Osborne at ICRIMP. How's that? And then we can just conduct the vote by mail. It's an administrative thing. Are you okay with that,
Yes.
Bill? Okay, so then let me talk with him, and then I'll trigger an email to the two of you. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 7, in-house custodian analysis discussion. Sean, Greg? Oh, Leslie, go ahead.
Sure. So Nancy Plus gave us an analysis in September, and I've had a few discussions with Greg, with Sean, and with Nancy. And what it looks like at this point, or what I might like to go forward with, is considering hiring 2 full-time people to take care of the custodial portion of the admin only and leave ABM with the old courthouse and the Justice Center, and to see how it works out. I think that we could put a proposal together to bring back to the board, but I didn't want to do that if either of you weren't interested in looking at bringing some custodian in-house.
Okay, Leslie, Greg's coming up to the mic here.
It's basically up to you guys. I think it'd be a asset to do this. I mean, you see what we get through ABM right now.
Okay, so the proposal then is for 2 full-time admin, okay? And who was the other company?
ABM.
ABM
That's who our
would,
janitor services currently.
okay, and they would handle
They just keep doing
everything else?
courthouse, justice building, JJC.
Okay. What's prompting this? Service?
The service we get right now. I mean, you guys probably see it every day. Come up the stairway, it's just not clean. I'm on the phone with them every day trying to get them to do a better service. Sean knows.
And that's been going on for years. And the problem is, we went through this with Dan, Mark, and Bob Board, and I did an analysis, and at that time, we were going to replace them all. And then it just kind of fell apart. The problem that Greg is having is the same problem that I was having. They don't work for me. So I can't, discipline them. I can't try to motivate them. They don't work for the county. And I've said all along, and I think it's true, that if you were able to provide a job like this with benefits, you're going to get, no disrespect to the cleaning people in the world, but you're going to get a different employee because of that
Sure.
fact that
Clearly.
you're, not even paying just maybe a little more than what they were making, but that benefits package, everybody in the room knows how big that is. I've been a proponent of this for a long time, and I think the one thing that really goes unnoticed in this whole thing is kind of an offshoot that's really very important is the security aspect of these office spaces and what they're in. It's a different the county is a different background check, and there's different things that you could require them. So, because we've had instances where, people have said they've gone through my desk, something's missing,
Fair enough. How do we look budgetarily?
If we just try the campus, I mean, we pay ABM $8,500 a month just to do the admin building.
So that's $100,000.
It would be about a $2,000 savings for the year, but depending on how the makeup of the, I tried to do it at market salary. So we can bring forward a proposal instead of just a discussion if that's what the board wants.
Okay, Nancy Pluff is going to jump in. Go ahead, Nancy.
I just wanted to point out that the $8,500 includes the Justice Center, the courthouse, and we also need to take a look, do we want them to handle the annex and also the Buildings and Grounds office? Because those are billed separately, but the $8,500 is for admin, the courthouse.
So it's for everything.
No, it's
And the Justice Center.
8825 is
That's
just
it.
the admin.
That includes,
No, because we have Public Defender's Office, 3rd Street.
Yeah,
These
let's
are all
make sure
different.
we're on the
it's
same
admin,
page.
it's billed as admin campus.
it's billed as admin, but this
Right.
includes the
It-
courthouse.
Oh, that's everything here.
Yeah, it's billed as admin campus is how they said it. But
Okay.
there is a breakdown someplace, I might even have it. There is a breakdown someplace of what it costs per those 3 buildings.
Yeah, that's what this is, because it's actually a $12,919 for all the buildings.
So I'm sorry, Nancy, admin, annex,
The annex and the Buildings and Grounds, those are billed separately. So the $8,500 or $8,800 is for the admin, the courthouse, and the Justice Center. So we would have to have them split that out to determine what the cost is for admin only, to take that out of the contract. But also, Buildings and Grounds spends a lot of their time, 5 to 10 hours a week, handling things here during the day, accidents, things that need to be cleaned in the restroom, things that need to be filled, like paper supplies and stuff within the restrooms, that if we had somebody on site during the day, we could free up Buildings and Grounds times as well. So the fact that it might cost a little bit more money to have somebody on staff doesn't reflect the time we're going to be saving from Buildings
Oh,
and
no,
Grounds.
I get it. It's just that we're trying to get at least an accurate depiction. Okay.
And I think we would save money in supplies also,
Okay, so, but the 8,800 is admin, courthouse, and Justice Center.
Yes.
And what you're concerned about here, Greg, is admin.
admin only, yeah. Just on a trial basis to see if it works out.
Still two FTEs? If it's just admin?
Yeah.
I want to see it on a piece of paper. I don't want to do it.
It was estimated
I don't
4
wanna
to 5.
do it on the fly.
No, when we did the analysis in September, it was estimated 4 to 5 FTE for these 3 buildings.
Okay.
So 2 for admin alone is not unreasonable.
Okay. Do we need more analysis, or are we okay?
The thing that you have to take into account
I-
is, at some
I
point,
would bring a proposal forward.
Yeah.
I just wanted to not waste on a proposal if you didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, let's get a proposal. You know, keep it brief, but Nancy, can you get with Greg? Will that work? Okay, guys?
Some comparison.
Yeah, just so that at least we have an idea. I don't want to be shooting in the dark here, so, okay. But obviously the need is real. That's what I'm hearing universally, so, okay. If you guys can get something to us, what, by the end of the week? Is that doable? Okay, great.
We will need to contact ABM, though, to find out what the cost of breaking out the admin building is.
You can,
I'll get hold of Giles.
you know what you can do? You can take the 3 buildings and take the square footage and then use the cost to come up with a cost per square foot,
that's
because
methodology. You can
that's
do
how
it.
they do it. It's
you
just,
can
it's
do it
all
the
about
easy way.
cost per square foot.
We don't need to be involved in that.
So I wouldn't even call them. I would just take, because I think you're looking at 40, 30, and 30, somewhere right in there. So, if you're looking at right around 100,000 square feet, and then you just take the admin square footage and
What's our square footage here, Sean? You would know. Greg, do you know?
the admin's like 42,000, I want to say.
This building?
This building, yeah. It's the biggest of the 3.
The 3, okay.
So, you could just take the square footage, Nancy, and just get to your square foot price, and then
That's it.
that would get you close.
Okay,
I mean,
cool. That'll work.
You got to factor in now that you've got supplies and, you've got to buy your own vacuums and your own
I'm
soap
not interested in
dispensers and all
drilling
that
down on
stuff.
this thing.
I'm just telling you.
Well, don't tell me, tell
I know,
her.
I know.
I mean, can I make it any clearer? I'm not interested in how many paper towels we use and
Right.
and
I
how many
got you.
feet it is,
I got you.
okay?
That was all factored into the original analysis.
Okay, well, this sounds like it's changed a bit to do, so let's see a changed projection. I think it's probably a good idea, but I don't want to listen to all the minutia. I'm not a minutia kind of person.
Point made. Okay.
Got it.
Moving on. Thank you, everyone. Okay, item number 8, 2020 Advisory Board appointments, and I'm indicated for this one. But I'm going to turn it over to Nancy Jones. We're coming up to that time of year, which is like next month or the month after.
Thank you, the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah.
All right, Nancy Jones for the record, with the BOCC office, commissioners. As you know, this is the time of year we do our annual appointments. So for the history on this, we didn't always replace people, and we don't always when their terms are up, but it was changed back about 4 or 5 years ago to where anyone whose term is ending has to reapply. So we consider every currently closed position at the end of its term an opening on the board. Your chairs, all of the chairs of these committees have received all of the applications and have been asked to bring their recommendations forward to you by December 1st, so they're working on that. One thing to understand is that we did have a priority deadline. We have to have some deadline every year. We take applications year-round, but we have to have some deadline to say this is when we're going to look at them. So Halloween was our deadline, October 31st. All of the chairs have received any applications received after that.
Okay.
But some of them may have already had meetings scheduled. So any of these that you see that the date of application is after November 1st, you can know that the chair and the groups that are considering may or may not have considered those. It's been left up to the chairs how to deal with that deadline, depending on when they were doing their review. We've got a few. You're going to see also, these are all saved in the G Drive under the advisory board link. If you need any help locating those, just ask staff. You are going to see potentially 3 different types of application in there this year. We revamped the application and James helped us make it so people can actually apply online now.
Okay,
So you'll
great.
see the online app, you will see the printed applications, and you may see a few of the old applications because we do keep these on file for 12 months.
Okay, keep
So
going.
this should be the only year you'll see that. Running down this list, and Leslie, this is also in the G Drive. If you need help finding it, I think you've already kind of peeked at it. For the airport, we have 3 positions open. We have to date received, as of this morning, 11 applications. Aquifer Protection District, we have 5 positions open. That's a little bit of a different one we're going to have to talk about when we get ready for review, because statute dictates what openings we have and who can fill them. So that one we may not
Aquifer.
be able to fill. We'll get into that. Board of Community Guardians, obviously a little bit of different. They're not an advisory board, they're a service board. So typically the chair has a little more input on those traditionally.
Understood.
North Idaho Fair, they have an interesting schedule. So they have a 4-year terms. For 2 years, we appoint new people, and then there are 2 years where they are all in the middle of a term, and that's by statute. So last year, we appointed some people to the Fair Board. This year, we'll appoint, and then that will be it for a 2-year period.
Okay.
Historic Preservation's pretty straightforward. 3 positions open, 8 applications received. Natural Resource, 2 positions open, 4 applications received. Planning and Zoning, always a lot of interest there. We have 2 positions and 9 applications. That one has very specific guidelines that will also be in that G drive, because there are things like so many people within the area of city
That's correct,
impact and all of that. So we'll make sure you have a copy of that
Yeah,
to
that has a
review.
30% limit on people living in the city or ACI.
Correct,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Noxious weeds, 3 positions open.
Yep.
2 applications, but we found out this morning the 3rd person is reapplying. They just had not received the communication that we were waiting for them. Snowmobile, 2 positions open, 3 applications. The one prerequisite on that one is they do have to be a current rider.
Okay.
Waterways, 2 positions open, 5 applications. So my recommendation moving forward, I need to come to the board, we do this every year, and ask you how you would like to proceed. Would you like to do these during the status updates, or maybe have one big advisory board meeting to go over all of them? My recommendation, if we break it down, would be to do aquifer protection, noxious weeds, Board of Community Guardians, and natural resources as our 4 initial. Then go into a second grouping of the fair, historic preservation, and snow groomers. And then finish out with the airport, planning and zoning, and waterways.
Okay. What's our deadline?
The terms end December 31st, so ideally we will have these filled sometime in the next 6 weeks. But that's not statutory either. As a matter of fact, fair, technically their period will be in January. By statute, they get appointed the 2nd week of January, I believe it is.
Is Planning Commission January as well?
We're doing them based on December. I believe we
Okay,
changed
okay.
our ordinance on that.
So we probably ought to target getting them all done by the end of December to beat. And I'm fine with the sequence that you outlined. Leslie, are you okay?
Yep, that sounds fine. We already got one chair's recommendation for one board, so I'm expecting those other ones to show up soon.
Okay,
as well.
great.
And we actually, and just to give credit to the chairs, 2 others actually brought their recommendations forward without realizing that we weren't at the end of the deadline yet. So we asked them to please resubmit after that October 31st deadline. But we've been very lucky to receive a lot of good applications this year that they were very impressed with the early applicants. So are you okay doing that during status updates? Would you prefer to have a separate advisory board meeting?
When you say doing it during status updates, you're not talking about interviews now.
No, just to go over and start these groupings of looking at the applications for each board and determining who you want to.
Have a 3-hour status update meeting.
Well, either way, it's going to take some time, whether we
but
do
I'm
it at
just
stat. Leslie, thoughts? You want to do it during status update?
Only if it's one of those where we've got 2 openings and 2 recommendations, and it can just be handled easily. Otherwise, I think kind of like last year where we handled, maybe 1 or 2 at a time would be fine.
So maybe we'll do the first group in 1 or 2 status update meetings and then determine the need from there.
So we'll let you schedule it. How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay, good.
And
Yeah,
just as an FYI, after we do start the new year, this year we were going to start doing open meeting training. And then, of course, all of the meetings got canceled in the spring, and they've been sporadic this year, most of our boards, with some exceptions. But we will be doing open meeting law training and have everyone signing a volunteer agreement in January or February as well.
Okay, good.
And those are being scheduled.
Before you go, Bill, on your alternative form of government, when do you hope to fill those?
We can do those in January. There's no requirement, but I've got to get some good bylaws out and approved by the commission.
Okay.
And then solicit applications. So I would say sometime in January.
I do think that board will benefit by the creation of that online application form that was created.
It's going to make it easier for folks, absolutely.
And if you do have any feedback as you start looking through those, we've already had one chair report back to us, very positive feedback on the new form that had a lot more of pertinent information.
Okay, good. I think it's encouraging that we have so many applicants. I think it's good. I really do.
Well, and I probably already have about a half dozen who have expressed interest when we are ready, and I'm building that list of who to contact when we're ready for that next board.
Good.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Leslie, you okay?
Yep.
Okay, then. So final item, pending item, status review. Okay, so the first item is Citizen Advisory. Thank you, Nancy. Citizen Advisory Committee, Bill, that's still on hold?
Yes.
Okay. Fire station at the fairgrounds, are we executing that tomorrow? So we're executing?
Yes, I've gotten it from legal with the final changes, and I have to send it to KCFR, which I'm going to do right after I get off the phone, and then it should be all set to go tomorrow, as long as KCFR can get an answer to me, which I don't see as a problem.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so that would be business meeting. Tomorrow is the 17th. Okay. Facilities expansion?
So,
Go ahead, Sean.
in talking to Ken at LCA, they will be coming in here on December 3rd to review the space planning study one more time with just the people that are scheduled to move to the new building. So I spent most of the day Friday putting this together, public defenders at 9, prosecutors at 10, AMPs at 11, BOCC, which will be Leanna and possibly Leslie at 1:30, and then district court at 2:30. I did realize that Friday that when going through the old space study that we had not involved KCSO as far as the planning for the holding cell. So I'm in the process of setting up a meeting with Holochek and Deke and Pete Barnes to try to find out what it is they want, and then if need be, I can schedule them into the time slot on the 3rd. They're available from 9 to 5. They're spending the night and then leaving the next morning. Ken's still working on the contract and the costs and all that
Okay,
stuff.
cool. Good. Okay, then, thank you. Pack Airport lease, Leslie?
Same thing. Haven't heard back from Wally yet. I'm kind of giving him some time because they had never paid lease before, so I'm giving them as much time as possible to
Got
find
it.
funds, to find different avenues to start to do that.
Okay, OEM relocation?
Real quick, I just left there a little while ago this morning, so most of the demo is complete except for a couple of things that are change order related. The new wall and door is up in the armory section, the first room on the right. They're in the process right now of drywall patch paint. All the cabling is through the ceiling and into the rooms, and last week we did get the septic tank pumped out. So we have a meeting there Wednesday morning, and it looks to be moving right along.
Okay, and that's general construction, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's it. Wait a minute, do we have no, that's it. That's our last one. Okay, then, so that concludes our status update pending items. Public comment? None? 11:52, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.